Okay, so today's video is on how to add tests to your workspace, and these are the macro tests that will run your interface and test to see if things have changed or gone wrong. So it starts with this package here, the Workspace Test Manager, that's available in this workspace. And let's just give a quick run through of how it works. So first thing to know is there's a method on this package that shows the testing dialog. And we'll just start off by doing a really simple test, and you can sort of see the basic principles. Okay, so we go to the first tab and we press Start Recording. And I go over to my interface and I'll type a few things. I'll type 0 here. I'll press A on that selection. And then I'm going to right click here and do Add Test to Macro and Text in Control. We'll press OK and we will stop our test. Okay, so what it's done here is it's written a test script for you that records the buttons you pressed and the mouse moves and keystrokes that you've done. And then it will add a test into the macro that will run when we run the test and to see if it meets the conditions. So we'll go through this test. It sort of starts off with recording the workspace and InspectionWare version you're running, initializes a few variables, puts a log here, and then it says, okay, I pressed radio button, I pressed A. I entered text in 0 there, and this was my right click here. And what it's done is it's captured and recorded a bit of JSON saying the combos had text A, the edits had 0, and then it runs a task to see if it works. And we'll just press Run. And it finished with no errors. So just to give you a sense of what's going on, if I sort of change my A, which was the combo text, to a B, I expect this to fail. And it's saying text control combos A not equal to B. So that's the simplest test, and that's the pattern that goes on. There's macro functions that record what happens, and then you inject tests in at various points. Okay, so let's just continue on and do something a little more complicated to see what else we can do. So we're going to overwrite this one. We'll press Start Recording, and we go to this tab. Now, generally, you want to be careful that your initialization state is good. So typically, the first thing you do in a macro is sort of initialize everything to where it was. So we can run the slider. We can flip a few tabs there. And then let's add some tests. So text and controls we already did. But you can see there's the draw rectangles for things are in there. So we'll just add that one again. We'll go to the second tab, and let's just double click on that one, and an Alt double click moves my red cursor. And then I can do Add Macro to the plot, and you can see there's a good range of choices here. So let's add one for the cursors, the blue-red cursor, and we have 3 choices of the tests we can put in. So let's do the readouts, and we could add a test here. It will record clicks on the navigation tree, and it's recording all the clicks I've done. But let's press Stop, and then we've got, in this case, you can See if I move it on screen, you can see the macro is quite a bit longer than it was before. And I'll move this so you can sort of see it, and we'll run it. And you can see it's doing what we told it to do, and it passed. It passed the test. So a word on the mouse clicks are fairly true to an actual mouse click. What's recorded is actually the fraction of the position on the screen size. So if your test is running in a different computer with a different screen size, there'll be some difference in the pixel that's actually hit, which is fairly realistic. But just the thing you should know is that there is this tolerance function here that you can change, and it starts off at 0.1, but you can change it up here, or if you find you've got a given test. So see if we can find, yeah, this is the test on the readout. Say that the tolerance was that was too small for the tolerance of the mouse move. You could put it to 0.5 here and change it out. So generally, the general pattern you want to use is you want to record the test. It does most of the work. If you need to tweak a few things here or there, if a number changed, you can type it. In general, I find you're better off just re-recording the macro because they're pretty easy to record, and just overwrite the old one. Okay, so I'll cover one more thing on this, is that if this is my macro package here, now any sequence you put below it that has a usage add to test, it will, I need to show my, show testing dialog. It will show up on this dialog here, and basically during your recording, you show this dialog, you click the tests you want to be added, and they will be added to the macro. So you can, if you have something specific for your workspace that you want to test it, just write a sequence there, and then a couple of clicks, and it's added to the script. Okay, so doing your test runs, we've recorded our macros here. I should probably say too, hunt around when you're recording, you'll see a lot of nodes have an add test to macro. So we'll do another test here. We go back to this page. This button runs this build sequence here. So that's made that data set, and then you can go here, do your add test to macro, and there's a bunch of tests that can be added. So data fingerprint is a good one. Press OK, stop recording. And just a word on the test. The test basically compares, when you do the add test to macro, it records a string, and then when it runs the test, it runs that same get data fingerprint and compares them. Now the strings are one of two. They're one of two things. They're either a number or they're a bit of JSON. And in this case, you can see it's recorded JSON. The average value in the data is 8.6. There's 123 points on axis 0, 87 points on axis 1. These are pretty human readable, so you can figure out what it's doing. And when it does the test, the tolerance is applied there. So if you're off in one of these higher decimal places, it's not going to throw. So that's the gist of the testing. And like I say, they're editable, but typically, if it's more than a few little things, I just start again. Okay, so that's making the tests, and now let's how we use them, how to do your daily test runs. So first thing you're wanting to do is just save it, and it's a IW script, so we'll just press A for script A. And then we go to the Run Tests page. This one was, I think, scripts is where it was. And you can walk through the files, go to the first file, only have one, and you can press Run. And it's run happily. Size that, or you can run the whole folder. So typically you're making, so typically your daily test run is come here, show the testing dialog, and run the folder. And if you see anything down here, you dig into it. But that's really all it takes. And I think that's good.